Right now, almost every country on Earth owes money, even the richest, most powerful nations. So the question isn't who is in debt, it's how did this become normal? And who exactly are they paying? In this video, we'll break down how national debt really works. We'll look at why governments borrow in the first place, who lends them the money, and why global debt keeps growing without immediately collapsing the system. By the end, you'll see debt not as a mistake, but as a feature of how modern economies function. Let's start with the uncomfortable reality. Governments rarely balance their budgets. They spend on infrastructure, healthcare, defense, pensions, and economic growth. And very often, they spend more than they collect in taxes. That gap is covered by borrowing. This isn't reckless by default, it's deliberate. Just like a business takes loans to grow, governments use debt to smooth economic cycles and fund long-term projects. So who are they borrowing from? Here's where it gets interesting. Countries don't usually borrow from a single entity. They issue government bonds, essentially IOUs. These bonds are bought by domestic citizens, banks and pension funds, insurance companies, foreign governments, central banks. In many cases, countries owe most of their debt to themselves. For example, a large portion of U.S. government debt is held by American institutions and the Federal Reserve. Japan is even more extreme. Most of its massive debt is domestically owned. So the idea of countries being owned by outsiders is often exaggerated. But there's a twist. Debt becomes dangerous when confidence disappears. As long as lenders believe a country can repay, or at least manage its debt, borrowing continues. But once trust fades, interest rates rise. Borrowing becomes expensive, and debt can spiral. This is what happened during the European debt crisis, where countries like Greece faced soaring borrowing costs almost overnight. The problem wasn't debt alone, it was credibility. Why debt keeps growing anyway? Global debt today is larger than at any point in history, but so is the global economy. As economies expand, governments borrow more to maintain growth, stabilize recessions, and respond to crises. After 2008, and again during the COVID era, massive borrowing prevented deeper economic collapse. Debt, in this sense, acted like a shock absorber. Not perfect, but necessary. The quiet rule everyone follows. What matters isn't the size of debt. It's whether the economy grows faster than the interest on that debt. If growth outpaces borrowing costs, debt becomes manageable, even invisible. When it doesn't, debt turns from tool to threat. National debt isn't a countdown clock. It's a balancing act. A system built on trust, growth, and time. Every modern economy operates on borrowed money, borrowed from its future productivity, borrowed from institutions that believe tomorrow will be bigger than today. Debt only becomes a crisis when belief breaks, when lenders doubt stability, when citizens doubt currency, when growth stalls. In the end, global debt isn't proof the system is failing. It's proof the system is interconnected, fragile, but functional. If you enjoyed this calm breakdown of how global money really works, consider subscribing for more stories about economics, power, and the systems shaping our future. This is Cold Insight. Thanks for listening.